So all this talk about illustrations, I realize I should probably demonstrate how this works. So I figure after talking all about illustrations for the last several weeks, it's probably just valuable to give you some examples of some really good illustrations and a couple of my favorite illustrations. And so the first one is a wonderful story. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it a few weeks ago. It's a long story, and the challenge is to like memorize it so that it comes across really natural. It's a long story, it's a lot of details, but if you memorize it, it can be very powerful to talk about perspective or to talk about patience or, any number of things. It's a powerful story. So the story is told about a poor old woodcutter, and he lives in this village, and he's the envy of the town because he has this beautiful white horse. And everybody, even the king, wants to buy this horse from him, but he refuses to sell it. He says to the people, "This horse is not a horse. It's family. How can you sell family? It's not a horse. It's a friend. How could you sell a friend?" And the people are saying to him, you're a stupid old man. You're an old fool. You're so poor. You could get so much money for that horse if you just sold the horse. And he says, "I can't sell the horse. The horse is family." Well, one day, the man goes out to the stable and finds that the horse is gone. Stable is empty. And the people, the townspeople show up again. The village people show up again and say, "Oh man, you were a fool. We told you should sell that horse. And look, now you're even more poor because you didn't sell the horse. You could have got so much money for the horse." And the man says, um, "All we know is that the horse is gone. We only know that the horse is not in the stable. You guys draw too much conclusions. You cannot judge because you don't have enough information. All we know is that the horse is gone. You judge, but you only see a fragment, and this is not wise." Until 15 days later, the horse comes back. But not only does the horse come back, but the horse apparently had gone into the forest and gotten 12 other horses with him. All right, so the horse comes back. The beautiful white horse is back with 12 other horses. And here come the village people again. "Oh man, you were right. We were wrong. We can admit when we were wrong. Uh, it wasn't a curse. It was a blessing. It was a blessing that that horse went away because now it's come back and you have all these horses that can be easily trained and broken, and you can sell them for a great fortune." And the man says once again, "We don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. We only know that the horse has returned and there are 12 more horses. We only see a fragment. We don't know whether it's a blessing or a curse." Shortly after that, the man's son, his only son, was training the horses and fell off one of the horses and broke both of his legs. And the people came back to him again and said, "Oh man, those horses were a curse because now look at your son. You're going to be more poor than before because your son cannot help you. You have no one to help you and to carry on your work." And the man said once again, "You only see a fragment. How do we know if it is a blessing or a curse?" A few weeks later, the country uh, went to war against another country. And all of the village people, all of the townspeople's sons had to go to war except for the man, the woodcutter, the poor woodcutter. The people come back again and they say, "Oh, this is so terrible. You were right, old man. We were wrong. This was this was an amazing blessing for you, but it's a curse for us that, now all of our your son is here with you because he was injured, but now all of our sons are gone forever." And one version of the story says, The man says, I cannot talk to you people anymore because you jump to conclusions too quickly. All we know is that your sons have gone away to war and my son is still here. You judge too quickly. We do not know if it's a blessing or a curse. So that's one. Another story I love to tell. It's a personal story, a vulnerable story that is a vulnerable one for me, but it's one that makes me to think about humility. It helps me to talk about humility. So some years ago, I bought this car, and it was the first car that I bought fully cash, 100% cash, and there's a 19, if I remember memory serves correctly, it was a 1999 Audi A6. Beautiful car, black exterior, black leather interior, and it's just a pretty car. And I remember one day riding through the city. The weather was beautiful. I had my windows down, blasting my rap music, and I had my sunroof open, and I'm feeling myself, right? I'm riding through the town like, yeah, right? I'm feeling myself. And so I come up to this light, and I stop at the light, and everybody stopped, right? And right as I'm stopped, the light turns green. And when the light turns green, I'm turning left. And as I'm turning left, I'm like, yeah, I'm styling and profiling, right? And to my left, I see a guy in a black, and now my Audi A6 is black, but this guy's in a black S-Class Mercedes S550 big body. He's got his windows down, and he's got his music blasting. And as I'm pulling out, and I'm like, yeah, you know what it is. He looks at me and his S550, and he's like, yeah, you know what it is. And all of a sudden, I felt so small. Like, here I am stunting and styling and profiling in this little Audi A6, and my man got $100,000 car, and he's styling and profiling. And one of the things that always teaches me is that there's always somebody doing it bigger than you, so there's no real reason to brag. So look, I figured it was just valuable to talk about illustration. If you're going to talk about illustration, you got to be able to give illustration. So I figured I'd just demonstrate it for you. Listen, if you got any cool illustrations, put them in the comment section, or any questions that we can sit down on a thinking chair and chop it up together. And you can hit me up in the comments, or shoot me a question at CC Thinking Right on any of the platforms on social media, and we can chop it up together about quality church content.